Donald Trump's cognitive decline has never been more apparent. And at this point, it almost seems like he's trying to get the mainstream media to notice. He's dozing off in public, slurring his words in nearly every speech. And his latest Truth Social post might be the clearest sign yet of just how far his condition has deteriorated. He's practically showing it to us himself. And while the mainstream media, including Jake Tapper, continues to ignore it, we're going to talk about it right here in this video. Before we dive in, please take a second to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps us keep doing this work. Now, before we break down Trump's post that so clearly exposes his health and cognitive issues, let's take a look at an ad from our friends at Midas Touch, which perfectly highlights that Speaker Mike Johnson is just starting to catch on to Trump's decline.
It was checked out of his job for quite some time, and everybody knows it, and there was a cover-up. The people around him who were they would give him scripts to follow. They would point him literally in the direction, stand here, sir, wave like this. And he didn't know what he was signing.
So this is an executive order on flag burning?
So there's all sorts of just incredible implications. It sounds like a terrible novel or something, but this is reality. He pardoned categories of violent criminals and turned them loose on the streets.
He is pardoning some 1,500 January 6 rioters who have been convicted for participating in the attack on the Capitol 4 years ago.
A January 6 rioter who was pardoned by President Trump has been arrested and charged with making a credible death threat against Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
You can't allow a president to check out and have unelected, unaccountable, faceless people making massive decisions for the country.
Everything Donald Trump once mocked Joe Biden for, especially calling him sleepy, now applies perfectly to Trump himself. It's painfully clear that he's in no condition, mentally or physically, to handle the responsibilities of the presidency. Not that he ever truly did the job to begin with. During his first term, there wasn't much visible change in his appearance compared to what most presidents experience. Typically, you see the toll of the job, the gray hair, the exhaustion, because it's one of the most demanding roles in the world. But Trump avoided that entirely because he wasn't doing the work. He was dancing at rallies, golfing, and tweeting. That was the extent of his presidency. What we're seeing now isn't the natural wear of stress or sleepless nights. It's his own body and mind deteriorating in real time. Why do you think he's constantly taking time off? There was even a point when people wondered if he was still alive because of how absent he'd become. His endless golf trips and time hidden away from the press aren't just for leisure. They're an attempt to conceal his decline. He doesn't want the public to see how weak and unstable he's become. And as Congressman Adam Schiff pointed out perfectly, Trump's behavior makes it clearer than ever that his supposed strength is nothing but an illusion.
I'm hearing from people all over California, people with pre-existing conditions, people who tell me their premiums are going to go up $1,000 a month, that they're going to have to drop their coverage, they know that's really bad for them and their families. And we can easily estimate the millions of people that are going to lose access to quality care and the tens of thousands of lives that will be lost. So we need to end this. We proposed something, I think, very reasonable. It was a compromise. Certainly wasn't everything I want, which is a permanent extension of the tax credits. We said, let's extend existing law for a year, give us more time to work on this and reopen the government. And the result from the Republicans was, from the Senate Republicans, no. From the House Republicans, we're staying on vacation. And for the president, I'm going out to play golf. And that's where we are while people are hurting. And one thing that is just so shocking to me, George, in the midst of all this, they're appealing to the Supreme Court for the right to cut off food from people. Who does that? Who works so hard? Who goes all the way through the court system to cut food from people who need it right now? But that's where they're coming from. The cruelty is part of the policy.
Donald Trump's inability to negotiate an end to this government shutdown at the same time as he goes out of his way to not just prevent SNAP benefits from being paid out to 42 million Americans. But he is actually saying he will inflict financial pain. Those are the words, financial pain, on any state that supplements the program. So if you're Governor Westmore, if you're Governor Gavin Newsom, you're saying we're going to dip into the funds that we have and we're going to make sure people can eat while this government is shut down. Donald Trump wants to inflict financial pain upon your state. That's what he wants to do. That's how far he's going. So Donald Trump he'll wake up and really get to work on making sure people can eat. But anything else, he is literally asleep behind the wheel. Donald Trump's brain is absolute mush. He has no idea what's going on around him. Again, for God's sakes, the man was sleeping in the Oval Office during a press conference. Where is Jake Tapper? Where is anyone in the mainstream media? Besides, really, let's make it clear, Lawrence O'Donnell, he's the only one who wants to cover this when it comes to Donald Trump's cognitive decline. He has no idea what's happening. He's more erratic than ever. And now, Donald Trump's Truth Social posts, whether he's talking about tariffs, the stock market, whatever, it's taken as essential executive action. And those posts are getting more insane, which is what we saw right here from Donald Trump. Confused Trump 79 blast out satirical website story. Donald Trump 79 enthusiastically shared a screenshot on Sunday from a website that is clearly labeled its content as complete and utter fiction. Wow, Trump wrote on Truth Social, accompanied by a screenshot of a post that read, Doge halts yearly payment of $2.5 million to Barack Obama for royalties linked to Obamacare. Obama has collected this payment since 2010 for a total of $40 million in taxpayer money. This is indeed completely false, something the current president did not disclose when he posted it. The source of the story, the Dunning-Kruger Times, has a pretty clear explanation on its site. Everything on this website is fiction. It is not a lie and it is not fake news because it's not real. A disclaimer from the outlet reads, if you believe that it is real, you should have your head examined. Any similarities between this site's pure fantasy and actual people, places, and events are purely coincidental. And all images could be considered altered and satirical. This all comes as Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has sent a letter to Donald Trump's physician asking whether or not the president has experienced a heart attack or stroke in the past 15 years and whether health issues have interfered with his ability to perform his duties. Yes, Donald Trump should absolutely have a full medical evaluation. And it's very possible that he already has. When he casually mentioned having an MRI, it likely wasn't just routine. It sounded like a deeper set of tests were being done, something his team, including Carolyn Levitt, clearly doesn't want the public to know about. But Trump himself keeps revealing the truth through his own behavior. Every day, he shows more signs of cognitive decline, confusion about reality, and an inability to distinguish fact from fiction. That's why he can so confidently claim that prices are falling, that people are happy with the economy, and that everything is great. Because his handlers are feeding him comforting talking points to keep him calm while people like Stephen Miller run the show behind the scenes. Trump spends his days glued to Fox News, trapped in a media bubble that reinforces his delusions. He's living inside his own echo chamber, shaped entirely by the propaganda he consumes. And we need to talk about that. Seriously. His mental decline isn't a joke or an exaggeration. It's a legitimate threat, especially when someone with that much power governs impulsively through his social media posts. The erratic, incoherent nature of those posts reflects his worsening condition, and it's dangerous for the country. That's why it's crucial to keep drawing the contrast, to show what real leadership and stability look like. Governor Gavin Newsom did exactly that in his CNN appearance this morning, clearly highlighting the difference between Trump's chaos and genuine strength.
Texas and California. California, I get. United States, I get. Why are we in Texas?
To thank everybody for being part of this remarkable Tuesday that really galvanized and energized people, mobilized them all across the country, not just in relationship to Prop 50, which I was here to thank them for, but I think just the energy that the delegation from Texas brought to the Democratic Party, to democracy as a whole, when they stood up and pushed back against Greg Abbott and Donald Trump's overreach. And I really think in many ways that was the beginning of this comeback. This is the beginning of sort of a resurgence of energy, and you've seen it, the No Kings rally. You saw it obviously with the outcomes, not just in Virginia and New Jersey, but in Mississippi and Pennsylvania and Georgia and elsewhere. And I wanted to make sure that they knew how important they were.
So you're saying that the legislators, the state legislators, leaving the state for 2 weeks, protesting, denying the legislature a quorum for this unusual mid-decade redistricting that President Trump wanted them to do, that was the impetus that gave you the energy and the idea to do what you did in California?
Just go back in that moment. I mean, we were hand-wringing. You guys were coming out with a poll on top of NBC polls at 27%. We had a high watermark of 33% approval. The Democratic Party was primarily because Democrats were so upset about Democrats. It was a demoralizing time, and had they not asserted themselves, had they not shown up in California and in Illinois and other states, had they not called this out with a kind of clarity and conviction to really sort of underscore this moment, I don't know that we'd be in the position we're in today. And certainly Prop 50 would not have been inspired, because this, again, what was happening here, the phone call that I got from Gene Wu is what launched this entire process.
That's the House Minority Leader here in Texas. But let me just...
Maybe now, after that interview, Jake Tapper will finally recognize what real leadership looks like. Someone clear-headed, composed, and grounded. And start drawing that comparison with Donald Trump. He had no problem doing it with Joe Biden, so perhaps it's time he does the same here. Just a thought. Either way, we'll keep having that conversation right here every single day on this show. And if you want to support that effort, as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you've stayed with us till the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.